What's up everyone, John from ARTV. It's time for a review of the highly anticipated debut album by the teaming up of Kanye West and Kid Cudi. It's the hip-hop duo now known as Kids See Ghosts. Now, this has been one of the most hyped and buzzed about projects of 2018. It's been teased for a while now. People knew that Kid Cudi and Kanye were working together. He was even featured on a couple of the tracks doing like backing vocals on The Life of Pablo. And once again, he pops up on Kanye's most recent album, the one of many releases that are coming out on the Good Music label. And people were really excited about this. And they were really thinking that the creative energies of Kid Cudi and Kanye West finally coming together on a full-on collaborative project, it could be great. And honestly, I think that they do sound good together, so I was excited to see what would come of this project, and what we get here is something a little bit more experimental. There's definitely hip-hop roots, but it plays into some guitar-leaning tendencies as well, and maybe a little bit of psychedelic hip-hop, and just like I said, a more experimental approach overall. It's inevitable due to the close proximity of these releases between Kids See Ghost and Ye that the two projects are going to get compared. And I do think that it's fair to compare those because there's even a sequel song on here. We got Ghost Town, and here we get one that's titled Freeee, but that parenthetical thing that we see there, it's Ghost Town Part 2, and the I Feel Free that Shake070 sang on the original Ghost Town, my least favorite track on there, I know, unpopular opinion, that actually is brought to the forefront by Cudi and Kanye West here for another track. It's an interesting style. There's a wide variety of producers that are working on this. It's not just Kanye. In fact, he's not even credited on a couple of the tracks towards the end. You have Kid Cudi's longtime friend and collaborator Dot the Genius, who you might remember they worked on a project called Wizard, W-Z-R-D. Yeah, remember that? Teleport to Me. In a way, Kids See Ghosts actually feels like a continuation of that project because Wizard was meant to be a little bit more of a psychedelic and rock approach to making music, and it saw Kid Cudi coming out of his hip-hop zone and leading more into, I guess, his roots and his influences, because he didn't just want to make hip-hop music, he didn't just want to rap, and there's nothing wrong with that inherently. It's just that around that time, I think that he was really struggling with his depression and his anxiety and just fighting off his demons, and that's not something that necessarily made the best music for him. Between probably 2012 and 2016, I really saw him struggling, and I wasn't happy with the output of his music. But this, it feels like he's saying on some of these tracks, a rebirth. I feel so reborn. And the hooks here definitely kind of implement his mentality, and even Kanye's, and all of the controversies, and all of the depression, the anxiety, the bipolar disorder, everything that these two artists have struggled with, it's brought out here, and it feels like kind of a pushing away of those things and standing tall and saying, you know what, this is me, and I am in a better place now, or else I'm working to be. Even though this self-titled album does have its strong suits and its moments of clarity and focus, I also feel that there are gaps in between those. There's moments where Kanye West and Cudi really shine, whether it be them spitting bars, trading off verses like on Fire, that absolutely sounds great. That and Fourth Dimension back to back. I think that Kanye, especially on Fourth Dimension, really takes off and just kind of snaps on his verse. I love hearing that intensity from him, and the sample that they use from Louis Prima, an Italian singer that was really big in like the 50s and 60s. It was a Christmas song that they somehow brought in and translated to the fact that, like, oh, Kanye's giving us all of these albums. It's like Santa bringing presents, and it's an interesting comparison there. I didn't pick up on it the first couple of times that I listened to it, but once I actually started to read along with the lyrics, I was like, oh, okay, that works surprisingly well. I don't know how, but once again, Kanye pulling these samples together. But even with that focus, we do get some of these other cuts, like the opener, Feel the Love, that feels so repetitive, and even has the first bars on the album from a Kid Cudi and Kanye West collab record. Who do you think's gonna come in first? Well, neither of them actually. You would be incorrect if you guessed either of them. It's actually Pusha T coming through with some of the first bars here. And he sounds good here, but as it goes on, it's just kind of, you know, talking and repeating the phrase, feel the love, I feel the love, and it's not exactly anything that progresses, and that's how I feel about a lot of this record. It might sound good to the ear, but I think that people are overreacting if you're thinking that this is classic material. After that, Freeee interpolates the obvious track from Ye, Ghost Town, and uses the phrase free that Shake 070 used, I feel free, you know, that repetitive outro that came across here. And now we get something where both of the artists are singing about feeling free and feeling liberated, and it is a spiritual predecessor to Ghost Town, obviously using a similar melody and the same song structure overall, and I just don't feel like this one comes together. I mean, it has a solid verse here, a solid melody here, but I don't feel like it holds us together for the long run, and it doesn't make itself that interesting. There are some delectable moments at the end of this LP. I really enjoy the title track. That beat is really kind of grimy and dark and almost a little bit haunting in a way. It leaves a lasting impression with you. It just kind of rattles around, and just the percussion and that deep rumbling bass that's in the background. It's not overwhelming. It's not in a traditional trap or anything trendy style whatsoever. It's just deep and kind of subtle, and it leaves, like I said, something in your mind where you want to come back to a track like this. And I think that Kid Cudi sounds really great on this one, the way that he comes across in the hook, and you've also got some uncredited vocals from who you probably know as Mos Def. Reborn is an interesting song that I do enjoy, but it kind of feels like a fleeting high, like each time you come back to it you build up tolerance in a way, and maybe you just don't feel as elevated as you did the first time or the first couple of times you heard it. This is a track that does have a sweet melody to it, and I like that Cudi comes across with a very freeing moment and a freeing vocal performance here. And I think that it's very liberating for him, sure, and maybe even for the listener. I'm so reborn, and I'm moving forward, and it seems like he's soldiering on past his dark days. He was so heavily medicated, drugged up, and just dealing with depression in the wrong ways, and now, since 2016, and I think early 2017, it seems like he's kind of been free of that, and he's getting his focus and clarity back, and I like that he's able to kind of reform and regroup here, and it does have some interesting verses. I like Kanye on this track once again, and even Cudi's singing style, but it just lingers. It goes on for like a long time. This is a 5-minute and 25-second cut, and it just doesn't feel like it justifies that length and runtime. Then we have the closing track, which actually samples something from Kurt Cobain's home recordings. You might know it as Montage of Heck, and Burn the Rain is the track that's sampled here, that little guitar loop that just steadily builds and grooves on this one, and it makes for a very interesting backbone to the song and a great closer to this record. Overall, I can't say I'm head over heels for Kids See Ghosts, but I definitely see the appeal. I just don't feel like it's going to be a project that you just keep continually coming back to. I don't think that it offers you that depth, but it does offer you a good enough listen, kind of good summer vibes in a way, some maybe darker nights, and something that just feels warm, and something that maybe you could find a couple of tracks that you'll definitely come back to for years to come. This is just my opinion, of course. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Don't forget to drop a like on the video. Me personally, for this project, I'm going to go with a light 3.5. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and if you're able to, please support me on Patreon at this annotation over in the corner, or else the top link down below. If you want to see my review of the Pusha T album, then tap here, or the Kanye album right over here. All of my social media accounts can be found linked down below, and I'll see you soon for more on ARTV.